Apriology, the Christian theory of everything. The a priorian theory of everything, TO, rests on three propositions. 1. Science is the search for truth. 2. Apologetic explains God. 3. Apriology reconciles all truth analytically. If we wish to get closer to the truth, scientists must reconcile with the church. If Christians wish to understand the truths of God, we need to adopt the methods of science. Science and apologetic are dependent on each other. Operating in tandem, they become a scientific proof of God. When we truly prove the existence of God, we have found a solution to all problems. Scientist and Christian will dispute the claims made here. Neither sees the need or importance of the other in their work. Empiricists may argue that science is not seeking truth, because no one knows what the truth is. This is a pedantic and argumentative and contradictory claim. If we do not know what truth is, we cannot search for it, that is true, but we would not know when we have found it, either. We know the truth when we see it, is not totally true, but it is not far from the truth. This is because the truth makes sense. When we cannot demonstrate a statement to be a lie, we assume it to be true. The accused may be innocent until proven guilty, but everything a suspect says is assumed to be a lie, until proven to be true. Perhaps we ought to apply the same kind of thinking to life. Science is defined as the pursuit of knowledge using a systematic methodology. Scientific methodology includes objective observation using the measurement of data. Science is a method of acquiring knowledge. Knowledge in this case being defined as information that has been verified or validated by replication of results. Science is, however, both a noun and a verb, which causes some confusion. Science refers to the knowledge accumulated, and the method used in its accumulation. Knowledge is information that uncovers new facts. The value of a scientific proposition is its ability to indicate where new facts might be uncovered. A scientific theory is rated more on its usefulness in generating new leads than its truthfulness. There are scientists who understand science as a method of asking testable questions based on a hypothesis. Being testable means that the question is posed in a way that opens up the possibility of finding new testable knowledge. In this understanding, science is a body of testable ideas. This definition is not what it seems. Because in practice, what science is doing is seeking a coherent narrative. A testable hypothesis is validated by the density of the connections it has with what is unknown. A statement devoid of prediction is an opinion, not an expression of something that is true. Truth is validated and verifiable. Science, as an activity, formulates hypotheses that can be validated through testing. Science is a search for truth because only the truth substantiates what is true. Science establishes what is true and does this because it seeks and accumulates truth. Truth confirms but lies contradict. When we work to seek the truth and separate truth from lies, we are doing science. There is formal science as there are professional tradesmen. But the citizen that builds a house is as much a carpenter and builder as the man who makes his living building homes. We can be scientists without getting a paycheck from an accredited organization. In the search for truth, we have to realize there are two kinds of truth. These two sorts of truth are not compatible. There are two groups, each pushing their version of the truth. Some truth is synthetic and other truths are analytic. Which brings us to ecumenicism. Scientists are men and the activity of men must be impacted by the truth. If ecumenicism brings people to God and science convinces people to follow the scientific method, do they conflict or are they brothers in arms? Technology is a product of science, and it changes lives, but so does faith? The ultimate product of science is a consolidation of all thought into what is called a theory of everything, TO. But belief in God ought to bring us to this same end. To have a theory of everything would mean the elimination of a distinction between the hard and soft sciences, otherwise known as the experimental sciences and humanities. If a single theory explains everything, it has to do it as a hard, experimental science and do it in a verifiable way. Therefore, we know the TO will have the form of an experimental science. The humanities, as narrative, will cease to exist. A TO consolidates all sciences under one umbrella or field of study. The distinction between religion, economics, and politics would cease to exist. The theory linking all three would be in the form of an experimental science or part of one. A new business model would have to emerge as part of this theory. The existent business model is not grounded in experimental science and would be one for thing the theory of everything would replace. No toe could exist and leave science and religion divided. We can predict that with a toe the distinction between science and faith would be eliminated. Individuals may speculate whether a toe would put an end to religion or prove God exists, but one or the other would have to happen and would happen. When the showdown happens, and science and faith consolidate, a total rift in the fabric of reality will happen. This is not as unlikely or as far off as it might seem. The outlines of the consolidation already exist. The two groups barely understand each other already and do little but talk past each other. One or the other group's assumptions will be confirmed. This means the other group's vision of reality would be discredited. This does not mean everyone on the losing side would embrace the theory as provided by the winner. It only means they would lack the means to refute or seriously rebuke the successful group. The division between what is called the left and right would deepen, and the two groups would be polarized in an absolute sense. They would become mirror images of each other. Whatever one side believed, the other side would believe the opposite. There would no longer be any dialogue between left and right, and at some point in time, it would be realized the two groups could not coexist. In speaking about a theory of everything, we are talking about a clash of two realities, with one experiencing a resounding victory, and the other, a total loss. A toe would create a conception of reality totally incompatible with one or the other way of seeing things. Such a theory would validate an ideology, but in so doing would perfect another. Without a total invalidation of either God or materialism by means of science, a toe has not been attained. Science must progress to the point it either becomes 100% so materialistic the God hypothesis is no longer tenable, or no longer avoidable. A toe must confirm the secular view of reality or the religious one. The question is what sort of form a religion would, if it was to be a toe. A theory of everything would not discredit science. It would demonstrate the necessity for God or the redundancy of God. There is no middle ground. This conclusion, whatever it is, would be as intrinsic to the scientific landscape as evidence for gravity. In short, one cannot claim to have a toe without laying aside or embracing such fundamental questions as the existence of God. Apriology, the study of analytical thought, predicts any possible toe will substantiate the Christian position and the existence of God. God is an analytical truth and even a logical necessity. Any toe will be analytical and necessarily substantiate the existence of the biblical God. Apriorian predicts the toe will be a Christian scientific theory that will address and solve everything consistent with Scripture and the existence of God. On the surface, it might seem impossible to predict such a thing. Indeed, the odds appear to be against Christianity occupying such a position. There are so many religions, and the secular worldview could win out. But the belief all claimants have an equal chance of creating or serving as the foundation of a theory of everything fails to understand the parameters of a single, unifying theory. A theory grounded in law or human rules will never meet the parameters of a toe. A toe based on a legal system would necessarily exclude faith. Faith and law are not compatible. If the toe omits law, then legalism is dead. But secularism and all religions are law-based. Christianity is a faith, not a religion. A religion is a way of life based on ethics, or rights that define good and bad. Religions are grounded in idolatry, and idolatry is never self-validating. The question must be asked, however. Why must law-based solutions be abandoned if we wish to arrive at a toe? A reasonable question, but we need to observe that if we reject the possibility of an ethical toe, the only other option is one grounded in faith. This leaves us with only one option, and that is a theory founded on Christianity. If we say a theory of everything will be law-based, we must guess at what laws will be validated and which group will they belong to. The answer is not obvious. Will Islam or Judaism or the Jehovah's Witnesses be proved right? Or will it be some other group? It is impossible to pick an ethics as the foundation for a toe, because laws are always subjective. If an ethical system served as the source of a toe, it would mean we would need to rethink our understanding of the truth. A law-based religion is not a toe, and it cannot be transformed into a universal solution. As said, all legal systems are subjective. A theory of everything cannot be fashioned from a subjective worldview. A law is always subjective. They are nothing more than opinion formed into a regulation. If it were claimed all laws stem from the law of gravitation, the claim would lack objectivity.